one moment from the chaos in Baltimore that had people cheering for more.
Mother of the Year.
I leaped out of my chair and said, yes!
I was.
Now, did y'all notice in the world? Did y'all notice the people who they got to respond to this video?
One moment from the chaos in Baltimore that had people cheering for more.
You got this sugary dude right here. Okay? They got this black, sweet man right here.
Mother of the Year.
I leaped out of my
They got this broad that's projected as black sometimes.
chair and said, yes!
I was.
Got a big back Keisha, who is allied and responsible, partly responsible for black male dysfunction. I cannot stand these women. Black men, y'all need to get into the habit of saying that. I cannot stand these women. These evil, deranged broads make me sick.
Captivated.
Captivated by a Baltimore mother.
Captivated by abusive, fat, big back, violent, abusive mother. That's why he's there against her wishes. Because she's such an abusive, annoying fat back. I guarantee you, he's going to grow up to continue to resent her.
The riot act to her 16-year-old son. To remove him from the riot.
This broad comes up and starts striking him in the face. Now, I've talked about, and you all can do your research. They say, the mental health experts say, when you're abused, when a child's abused growing up, there's a greater chance that they grow up to involve themselves in violence. This is fact. Do your own searches. Abused children have a higher chance of growing up to be violent themselves. You see, they deal with these violent Keishas their whole life, and when they get old enough to go to school, when they run into hostility from other students, the mindset is, I'm not going to take this from you. I already put up with this from my mother. My mother already attacks me physically. She already yells at me. You're just a classmate. So I'm not going to tolerate no abuse from you. Why do you think there's so many crash outs? And why do you think, for example, in Chicago, many of those drillers become drillers after intense abuse, physical abuse from their peers? King Von was one of them. Make no mistake, he became violent because he was jumped. Him getting jumped on that bus is what changed him. Same with Lil B, Rasan Shaw. He was jumped by his own guys, and then he started taking people out. Before those incidents, both King Von and Lil B were only shooting at people. They had not unalived anybody. And after those incidents, both of them started to unalive people and ended up with multiple bodies, multiple hats. Fact. But yet, you got the world applauding abuse against black boys. Can you make sense out of that? Make it make sense. Make it sound justified. And I've known these type of big back Keishas my whole life. They're absolutely abusive and crazy. But in other times, in other moments, they can talk as if they're sane.
That's my only son. And at the end of the day, I don't want him to be a Freddie Gray.
The Baltimore man who's...
See, that was not her real self. That was her white girl voice. That was her white girl voice. And her white girl act. Her real self is who you saw attacking this boy and talking like a hood rat. Acting like a hood rat. Yeah, we know. Y'all can't fool us. You can try to project these Keishas as pillars of the society all you want when it suits you. Notice, in all other moments, they project black women as the downfall of society. The welfare recipients, the ones who's leeching on society, the ones who's getting laid off in record numbers. But when it suits them, when they're abusing their sons, they'll applaud these big backs. Again, I cannot stand these women. And you know why my main focus is these women? Because I know there's some pro-black FBAs listening and saying, hey, why isn't most of your smoke against the Brads, the creative? Because the women should know better. Just like you say you're playing basketball. If your teammates start helping the other team, you're going to have more smoke for your teammates because they're supposed to know better. You're going to immediately slap your teammates around like, man, what is you doing? You're going to clothesline them. Like, dude, what is you doing? Helping the enemy. That's why you get so much attention, Keisha. Being allied with our enemies. Now I want to show y'all something.
Look at this picture you see right there over Brian's shoulder. The prosecutor's office wants this 17-year-old off the streets right now. The crime is horrific.
It really is. They say he shot another teenager in the back. This is in broad daylight. New at 6, we're learning the two barely knew each other.
Aria Janelle shows us video of the cold-blooded attack.
What? So he's just shot somebody in the back? That's why this is so cold-hearted and, oh, look at how evil this is. Somebody got shot. People get shot all the time. And notice, they had the Keisha lead. Had the Keisha lead the story. Why? Because she is involved in the creation of criminalistic black kids.
Look at this picture you see right there over Brian's shoulder. The prosecutor's office wants this 17...
You see how sick this is? For the black woman to kick this off? The ones who's responsible for creating these criminal black boys? This is sick.
17-year-old off the streets right now. The crime is horrific.
It really is. They say he shot another teenager in the back. This is in broad daylight. New at 6, we're learning the two barely knew each other.
Aria Janelle shows us video of the cold-blooded attack.
This video is pretty tough to watch. It shows 17-year-old Royal King shooting an innocent teenager outside of a deli on East 185th Street in Cleveland. Again, I want to warn you that the video that you're about to see could be disturbing.
It is one of the most cold-hearted, treacherous, cowardly homicides that I've seen in my tenure as prosecutor.
What did you say, Brad?
Cuyahoga County
What did you just say, Brad? Bald-headed Brad? Keisha's ally with your little weave and your straight perm. teaming up on black men, boys, while they still kids. Y'all so pathetic. That's a pathetic excuse for mothers.
It is one of the most cold-hearted, treacherous, cowardly homicides that I've seen in my tenure as prosecutor.
Cat, Brad. You've seen far worse from your own kind. You know it, and I'm about to show a couple. And y'all don't have this same type of reaction when your own kind does much worse than this. Cap, Brad.
In my tenure as prosecutor.
Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Michael O'Malley not holding back. He wants to get a killer off the streets. This is the moment right before 17-year-old Jahari Stegall lost his life. O'Malley says the teen was walking into the 185th Deli on September 19th when Royal King pulled out a gun and shot him. King, just 17 years old himself.
A kid. Just like they teamed up and applaud the abuse of this kid, the sick media is doing the same thing here. And this is what they do. Now, how, you tell me, how is this the worst unaliving you ever seen? Watch this kid.
Shot him. King, just 17 years old himself. 19 News was there soon after it happened.
Shot him and walked away. Boy, you ain't no cold-hearted killer. You scared yourself after you pulled that trigger. That's why you walked away. You didn't run up and stand over him. Are y'all with me? He didn't stand over this dude who he shot. He scared himself. Shot him and immediately ran off. You ain't that savage. You ain't no demon. You stupid for revealing your face. But this can't be the most heinous unaliving you've seen, Brad. This was rather pathetic.
King, just 17 years old himself. 19 News was there soon after it happened while police were starting the investigation. According to the...
Shut up. Get out of here.
A conflict between neighbors had deadly consequences, according to Lake County investigators, who say 79-year-old Ettore Lecce shot and killed his next-door neighbor. Lecce is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder after investigators...
Well, wait. Where's this heinous, evil man? Where's all that? Where's all the extras? Huh?
Investigators say he approached 59-year-old William Martis, who was using a leaf blower on the property of his Antioch home. Investigators say the two began arguing, then Lecce shot Martis in the head.
Lake County Sheriff's deputies responded to that scene and located the 59-year-old victim laying in the driveway. Investigators say employees of Martis's construction...
Y'all remember that case? I know you do.
The neighbor
shot him for using a leaf blower. You don't think that was more heinous? Listen to this.
Killed her boyfriend because he scolded his dog. First at 5 starts in Thornton tonight, where a woman claims a neighbor killed her boyfriend because he scolded his dog for jumping a fence. Tonight, the victim's girlfriend is overwhelmed with her loss and is wondering why this happened.
Thornton police won't comment on her claims of what started the fight that ended in murder. Our Dylan Thomas live in Thornton. And Dylan, you spoke to the victim's family today, and they say this all started over that victim hitting his dog.
Yeah, the victim's girlfriend says Tuesday night her dog jumped over her neighbor's fence. So her boyfriend went to retrieve the dog and then he reprimanded it. It was then when she said shots were fired.
Wearing her boyfriend's favorite bracelet, necklace, and the ring he bought her, Vicki Brannigan is only left to wonder what could have been.
I knew we would get married soon.
Her boyfriend, Dustin Schmidt, was shot and killed Tuesday night after his dog jumped the neighbor's fence. Dustin
reached over and pulled Bruno up over the fence and back on our side, and swatted him on the butt and said, "Bad boy."
Brannigan says they've tried to keep their dog chained in their yard. She says the man who lives behind her, Michael Sadeghi, never had an issue with them retrieving their dog before. But this time, she claims he came out of his house yelling.
"Dustin, don't ever hit the dog again."
Brannigan says Schmidt and Sadeghi exchanged words. Then, standing in his own yard, Brannigan says her boyfriend turned his back to go inside when Sadeghi.
He just started firing, and Dustin fell, and I just sat there and held him because I didn't know what to do. And he was just bleeding, and I knew he was gone.
Brannigan says before this argument,
I thought he was the best neighbor.
Schmidt is described as a man of many friends and talent.
Thought he was the best neighbor. Now keep in mind, white men unalive more people than black men. They unalive more people than black men. But yet, black men, even when they're still kids, are always projected as the downfall of society. Just like you heard with the way they presented that case of that 17-year-old black kid shooting the other black kid. But when it's their own kind, you don't get those extras.
Talents, one who will be greatly missed.
I don't know what I'm going to do without him. He was my rock. Made me feel like the world.
You see? No extras for the guy who unalived them at all. No talking about how this is the worst case, the most heinous. Let's let Brad say that again. Say that again for us, Brad. Yeah. And this is so pathetic. And they always do this.
It is one of the most cold-hearted.
No, what we just saw was the most cold-hearted. Where they unaliving each other for nothing. His dog jumped over the fence. A dude was using a leaf blower. You don't refer to kids. These are trouble abused kids. But you want to describe them as the ones who's cold-hearted and really project the white Brads as the ones who are otherwise pillars of society. Good people who just, went left for a minute. But with us, it's black culture. You know what? Part of it is black culture, and part of that black culture is Keisha's abusing these boys.
It is one of the most cold-hearted, treacherous, cowardly
See how they team? See how Keisha abuses them, beats them their whole life, exposes them to gang culture, supports gang culture, plops them in front of TV so they could be possessed by gang culture through music, starting at a very early age, before they can even talk, while they're still babies, grooming them to be criminals, beating them, abusing them the whole time. And then when Brad gets a hold of, this is the most heinous, the most treacherous. Go ahead, Brad. Let's hear it again.
Cold-hearted, treacherous, cowardly homicides that I've seen in my tenure as prosecutor.
Coyote.
Pathetic. If nobody else sees your alignment with white supremacists, Keisha, we see it. I see it. And since my SBW channel, I made a point to articulate it best I can so that other people can see it. and give other people the opportunity to object if they disagree. This is not some personal belief. I'm putting it on the table, exposing it to criticism. Am I hallucinating or what? This is what happens. These Keishas are hateful and abusive to their sons. Let me ask you brothers out there a question. How many of you were kicked out of your home by your mother? When you listen to these drill stories, there's been a few drill fans subscribed to my channel since I've covered some of the drill scene. Those of you who follow the drill scene, don't you recall a lot of those young boys becoming homeless out of nowhere? Remember how all of a sudden King Lil J was homeless? How all of a sudden FBG Brick was homeless and they, quote, had to sleep wherever they could? Why do you think they was homeless? It's because it's a culture for these Keishas to kick them out of the home before they even graduate high school. I follow a guy named CSP from Chicago. Here's one of his videos right here. He makes music and has a podcast. He wasn't kicked out, but he left his mother's residence because they were fighting too much. How many of you can relate to that? This looks like it's one of those cases in the making. It is a culture for black women to kick their sons out of the homes, or for those sons to leave those homes because of the abuse. And because we're men, we don't like to reflect on it. We just like to take it on the head. Yeah, me and my mom, we couldn't get along, so I bounced. No, you was abused. You were abused. And it's just unfortunate that many of these abused black boys fall into a life of crime. I am telling you, you follow the drill scene in Chicago. Prayers to Chicago for the black boys out there who are by far the most abused demographic out there. Many of those black boys start catching bodies before they turn 15 years old. Right? FBG Wooski start catching bodies at like 11, 12 years old, right? Rasan Shaw, Lil B, start catching bodies at what, 14? That's the typical age range where those youngsters become shooters. Why do you think it's so easy? Because they have been exposed to violence their whole lives by their Keisha moms. You Keishas play a key role in the creation of violent black boys. I've been saying this ever since my SBW channel. You are not heroes. Look at how they titled this. And this is CNN, people. Baltimore Mother of the Year. I've gone over this video before. Mother of the Year. There's several videos. Look, CBS Morning had a special about it. This is one of the videos that I shared. Pull this abusive, evil, big back Keisha, big weave wearing, insecure, Becky wannabe, Brad worshiping, big back snacks in your fat back Keisha on the show, on the panel. Brought her in the studio as if she's some type of hero. All because her abuse of a black boy was caught on camera. Despite all this, despite all of these pressures, to create violent black boys, we are still not the most violent in the country. And I'm going to deal with that on a different live stream. Many of the unalivings that Brads carry out against other Brads really involves neighbors, taking each other out. Whereas these black boys tend to have stronger bonds with their gangs, gang members, with their own kind, with their own blocks, with their own sets. And it's that camaraderie that helps offset, because otherwise they would just be buck wild out here, taking each other out like it's nothing. But they do manage to practice brotherhood amongst themselves. There are certain elements among these abused, troubled black youth that I could tip my hat to. But make no mistake, they are abused. When you're talking about a 15, 14-year-old out here taking each other out, you're dealing with kids who need help. But remember, black males are never seen as kids. In the eyes of the world, including Keisha, we go from being babies to adults. We'll be 7, 8, 9 years old trying to figure the world out, confused, looking for guidance. And the whole while, the world is treating us and looking at us as grown men. And we just constantly being abused and being told by Brad and his TV and his institutions that our destiny is to be a gangster. And that what we should aspire to be is some fool with a mouth full of gold teeth toting a gun around. Get out of here. Yeah, this is not going to stop. I get a lot of comments where people say, you're doing the Lord's work. This is the Lord's work. To expose the truth. You Keishas are out here doing wrong. Period. And somebody needs to point it out, not applaud it, not give you no award. Nobody should be out here. And look at the comment section. The comment section is sick. I'm not even going to show it. You all know it's sick. Full of nothing but a bunch of people applauding this abuse. Well, I see it a lot different. Now I'll leave it there.